Consider the following toys: Barbie, Hot Wheel, Matchbox, Polly Rocket, Thomas & Friends. Chances are you have either heard of one or more. All of them have one thing in common: they are all manufactured by Mattel. Mattel is an American toy manufacturing company that was founded in 1945. It has been said that 92% of American girls from the ages 3 to 12 have owned Barbie. In today's episode, we will discuss the founders of Mattel and how they changed the toy industry forever. If you have been in a toy store with kids, you have probably touched a product by Mattel. The story of Mattel starts in 1916, with the birth of Ruth Moskowitz. She was born in a Russian Jewish family that moved to Denver, Colorado in 1916. Ruth's father worked in the railroad industry repairing tracks. Sadly, Ruth couldn't spend much time with her mother. Ruth was 6 when she passed away. From there on, she was raised by her eldest sister and her spouse. Her early school days were like any other child's, where she met her future husband Elliot Handler at a dance party. Elliot loved creating art, a skill that came in handy when creating Mattel. As time went by, Ruth moved to Los Angeles to start her position as the secretary for Paramount Pictures. Elliot joined Ruth and found a job in designing light fixtures. The couple married in 1938. The world is at war. Handlers uncertain about their career started a company. One day while Elliot was fixing furniture, Ruth suggested that he should turn it into a business, and she went around closing deals. Elliot started designing furniture in a garage that was shared by their neighbors, but this did not go well with the neighbors. They complained, and the couple had no choice but to leave the apartment. The couple then rented a small space and continued making furniture. Ruth would make cold calls during her breaks at Paramount. Soon before they knew it, the business was making $2 million a year. A year later, Ruth found a business partner, a friend, Harold Matson. She decided to name the new company after her partner. As the company was in the beginning stages, Elliot decided to leave his current job and joined Mattel full-time. Unfortunately, Matson got sick and could no longer devote himself to completely focus on Mattel. He decided to withdraw, leaving the couple to continue with Mattel. This is when they had their first child, Barbara. Ruth decided to quit her Paramount job and became a full-time mother and a business operator. Mattel's first year brought in sales of $100,000, mostly in dollhouse furniture, that was made using leftover material in the garage. But as in business, a competitor saw the rise in dollhouses and decided to make them from less. Mattel's second year in business was not as good. To broaden their scope, the handlers turned to toys. Their first toy was the Yuka-Doodle. The ukulele rapidly lost market share, resulting in a $60,000 loss. They soon realized that a successful business had to produce high-quality products. But most importantly, once a product is made, advertising is the key. This way, the buyer knows the original founder, making it hard for competitors to copy. Struggling to stay stable financially, the couple asked banks for a business loan, but banks refused to gamble on the struggling young company. Luckily, they did manage to collect a $20,000 loan that allowed Mattel to come up with the next big thing. Looking towards the future, they had an idea: why not tell kids their future? And with that, they introduced the Magic 8-Ball. The 8-Ball was a success, selling over 1 million pieces annually. Learning from their first mistake, they understood that in order to avoid competitors copying the idea, they needed to market on a big scale. And so they did, by advertising with the Mickey Mouse Club. By 1955, yearly sales reached $5 million. Finally, a time for vacation, a vacation that would change the company's future. They took their children on a trip to Europe in 1956. Walking on the street, Barbara expressed an interest in a paper doll. Ruth bought one for her. She saw that Barbara was spending hours with the doll and noticed 2 things. 1, Barbara would try to dress up the doll, but the clothing kept falling off. And 2, Barbara would rather act out of a future event with the doll than play with it in the current times. She realized that if her daughter is spending hours, other children would as well. And with that, the idea of a 3D doll with multiple dresses came to mind. 3 years later, Barbie was launched at New York Toy Fair. With the doll came the outfits. At first, Barbie was received with skepticism by the industry. The all-male committee rejected the idea, saying it was too expensive and had little potential for a wide market. Ruth was told, "No mother is ever going to buy her daughter a doll with breasts." Who knew Barbie would go on to become a global icon, inspiring girls around the world? By 1960, Mattel managed to go public with a valuation of $10 million. Mattel then introduced another winner, the first talking doll, the Chatty Cathy. Sales continued to soar from $26 million to more than $100 million. In 1996, Barbie generated $1.7 billion in revenue. Mattel continued to introduce toys such as the Hot Wheels, Safety School Bus, Chatter Telephone, Barbie Dreamhouse, Barbie Astronaut. But Mattel was soon going to face the darkest time in its history, where the Exchange Commission had to step in to investigate. 1971, Mattel was in talks to purchase Ringling Brothers and Barnum & Bailey Circus. To get financial approval, Mattel issued false and misleading financial reports. Pretty much, the company showed more than what they had. The SEC had to step in to investigate. This resulted in terrible for Mattel. When the reports of forging document came out, Mattel lost $32 million and their stock plummeted. Ruth, in charge of the company's financial affairs, was asked by the SEC. She answered a no-contest plea to the charges, but the government levied against her and she was ordered to pay $57,000 in fines. Shareholders then entered a series of class action lawsuits. To settle, the handlers turned over 2.5 million shares of their own stock, described by Ruth as half of everything we'd worked for in the previous 30 years. The firm's bankers and creditors forced the handlers to resign. Eventually, they left the board in 1975, ending their involvement in the company they had founded. Both Ruth and Elliot left Mattel. Elliot went back to art school. Ruth spent time with her grandchildren playing bridge. Ruth passed away in 2002. She was the first woman elected as the director of the Toy Manufacturers Association. She was the first woman appointed to the Federal Reserve Board. President Richard Nixon appointed her to the National Business Council for Consumer Affairs and the Product Safety Committee. Mattel today is the second most successful toy maker in the world. They have more than $800 million in the Barbie family, the company founded by Ruth and Elliot. If it wasn't for the couple to start experimenting in a garage, Barbie would have never existed. Until next time, have a good one.